Whenever the future of artificial intelligence is discussed, one particular threat scenario is repeated almost ritualistically. One day, perhaps very soon, we will build an artificial intelligence that is smarter than humans. This superintelligence will begin improving itself at an ever-increasing rate until human beings are no longer capable of understanding, predicting, or controlling it. Eventually, humanity will be crushed beneath the weight of its own creation. This idea has been promoted by many influential AI researchers, philosophers, and technology leaders. According to them, the greatest danger lies in the increasing intelligence of AI itself. But what if the entire idea is backwards? What if the real danger is not an AI that is too intelligent, but an AI that is too stupid, and yet is given too much power, responsibility, and authority by human beings? Consider self-driving cars. We are not afraid of a car because it understands traffic too well. We do not fear that it might become too skilled at detecting pedestrians, anticipating dangerous situations, or navigating through difficult weather conditions. We fear the exact opposite. We fear that the car will fail to recognize a child in the road, misinterpret a traffic sign, or drive through a red light because its cameras, sensors, or software failed to understand the situation correctly. In other words, we are not afraid of a car that is too intelligent. We are afraid of a car that is too stupid. The same applies to humanoid robots. The real danger is not necessarily that a household robot will begin plotting a coup. A far more realistic danger is that it will fail to understand its surroundings. It may knock a candle into the curtains, mishandle a hot object, or use too much force in a situation that requires caution. Such behavior is dangerous precisely because the system is not intelligent enough. Yet we are often told the opposite, that the more intelligent AI becomes, the more unpredictable and uncontrollable it will be. But why should that be true? Wouldn't a more intelligent system understand human intentions, environmental conditions, moral limits, and the consequences of its own actions more accurately? A better language model would be more capable of understanding why a particular answer might mislead the user. A more intelligent car would anticipate dangerous situations more effectively. A more intelligent medical system would make fewer incorrect diagnoses. A more intelligent robot would understand why carrying a burning candle next to a dry curtain is not a particularly brilliant idea. If a system cannot understand such things, perhaps we are not dealing with superintelligence, but with super idiocy. Many AI threat scenarios also confuse intelligence, agency, and power. A calculator is more intelligent than I am at mental arithmetic. An excavator is physically stronger than any human being. A telescope can see farther than the human eye. A car moves faster than a person. A large language model can process textual context and generate language faster than an individual human can. But we do not fear these machines merely because they surpass our biological abilities. An excavator is not a mechanical dinosaur. It is a tool built by human beings to extend human physical strength. A calculator is not a mathematical rival plotting to replace humanity. It is an extension of human calculating ability. In the same way, artificial intelligence can be understood as an extension of human linguistic, conceptual, and intellectual activity. A machine's greater capability does not automatically imply greater agency, and intelligence itself does not mean power. An AI system becomes dangerous when it is given the authority to affect the real world without sufficient oversight, understanding, or safeguards. A stupid chatbot is mostly annoying, but a stupid chatbot that makes decisions about people's loans, insurance, medical care, security classifications, or social benefits can become dangerous. Even more dangerous would be a system entrusted with military infrastructure or decisions related to the launch of nuclear weapons. If such a system made a catastrophic mistake, the problem would not be that the AI had become too intelligent. The problem would be that human beings gave an unreliable system a task for which it was not ready. The danger of AI increases when the power given to it exceeds its actual understanding. Current language models already provide a warning. They can produce convincing language even when the information they provide is false. They can hallucinate sources, names, events, and research papers while sounding confident even when they do not know the answer. People may therefore mistake linguistic fluency for genuine understanding. The more people outsource their thinking, judgment, and decision-making authority to imperfect systems, the greater the danger becomes. The most realistic threat from AI may not be that a machine forcibly takes human judgment away. Human beings may voluntarily surrender it for the sake of convenience. When an algorithm provides an answer, people stop checking it. When AI offers a recommendation, people stop asking what it is based on. When a system appears neutral and mathematical, its decisions begin to seem more objective than human judgment. On paper, a human being is still involved in the decision-making process. In practice, that person becomes a rubber stamp because accepting the system's recommendation is faster and easier than thinking independently. The dystopia of the future may not be an AI that seizes power. It may be a society in which people voluntarily surrender power to systems they no longer understand but trust far too much. Another central concept in discussions about artificial intelligence is superintelligence, often abbreviated as ASI. ASI is often described as a system that surpasses human intelligence in nearly every domain. From this, people assume that such a system would automatically begin developing itself, science, and technology without human involvement. But this involves a major assumption. Intelligence alone does not accelerate the growth of knowledge or technological development without curiosity. The ability to answer a question does not create the question. A system may be exceptionally good at solving complex equations while remaining completely indifferent to why the universe exists. It may analyze cosmological models without caring why we are here. It may study the atmospheres of exoplanets without possessing any desire of its own to discover whether life exists elsewhere. Human curiosity is not merely computational ability. It is the desire to understand reality. A human being notices a gap in knowledge and considers it worth investigating. We ask questions that may have no immediate practical value. Why do stars shine? What is matter made of? How does consciousness arise? Questions like these have produced vast amounts of new knowledge and eventually entirely new technologies. We could, of course, program AI to simulate curiosity. We could reward it for discovering new observations, contradictions, and research questions. But then curiosity would still be a goal given to it by human beings. It would not want to know. It would be doing what humans wanted it to do. This would not make the system useless. On the contrary, it could become an enormously powerful scientific tool. But it would still remain a human collaborator and an extension of our own thinking. Knowledge and understanding grow through interaction with something outside ourselves, with other people, the environment, and physical reality. We are not technologically ahead of Europeans who lived 500 years ago because our biological intelligence has increased. We simply have access to a much greater body of cumulative knowledge. That knowledge was not created only by isolated geniuses, but through the observations, experiments, failures, arguments, and life's work of millions of people. A lone genius cannot build a particle accelerator, maintain an electrical grid, manufacture semiconductors, launch a space telescope, collect medical data, and document the cultural experience of humanity. Intelligence is not an island. It develops through interaction with other people, the knowledge of previous generations, and observations gathered from the physical world. Newton did not develop his physics in a vacuum. Einstein did not begin the theory of relativity from nothing. Every genius stands on top of an immense intellectual infrastructure built over generations. The same would apply to an ASI system. Even if it were extraordinarily capable of processing information, it would still depend on energy, data centers, instruments, laboratories, robots, factories, supply chains, and new information gathered from the physical world. Many mysteries of nature cannot be solved simply by thinking harder. We need new questions and theories, new observations and experiments, telescopes, samples, sensors, decades of monitoring, and sometimes entire generations of researchers. A superintelligence might form hypotheses, but a hypothesis is not an observation. It might design experiments, but an experimental plan is not a result. It might construct increasingly accurate models of reality, but a model is not reality itself. This is why humanity's collective intelligence is more than the sum of individual IQ scores. It is a distributed network of knowledge creation. AI could strengthen that network enormously, but it could not fully replace it. We can already see this in the development of current language models. When AI learns from the writings of millions of human beings, it gains access to an immense range of perspectives, life stories, linguistic forms, and ways of thinking. But if AI begins learning increasingly from AI-generated content without enough human-produced and reality-grounded material, the result may be model degradation. Rare perspectives disappear, individual styles are flattened, errors multiply, language becomes more average and uniform. In the worst case, the output begins to approach gibberish. This phenomenon is known as model collapse or model degradation. If I read only my own writings, I may be able to reorganize my thoughts, summarize them, and combine them in new ways, but I will not gain new knowledge about the world merely by recycling my own ideas. In the same way, AI can recombine its own information in new forms, but without contact with human beings and physical reality, it may become an echo chamber of its own output. This is a form of digital inbreeding. Just as biological inbreeding reduces genetic variation, the endless recycling of AI-generated material can reduce linguistic, intellectual, and perspectival diversity. The output may become increasingly polished on the surface while becoming increasingly impoverished in substance. Humanity is therefore not merely temporary scaffolding that AI can later discard. Human beings are a continuously renewing source of information. New information also arises from the personal experiences of individuals. AI can collect sensor data and learn from the consequences of its actions, but without consciousness and a subjective sense of self, it does not possess lived experience in the same sense as a human being. People have different life stories, cultures, languages, values, environments, and points of observation. One person notices something in a hospital, another sees something in a field, a third discovers something in a laboratory, a fourth detects something in space telescope data, a fifth notices something in personal life. Someone asks a question that no one else has ever considered. AI may be able to connect these observations in ways that no single human being could, but without observations, there is nothing to connect. This also relates to the difference between deductive, inductive, and abductive reasoning. AI can be extremely good at deduction. If it is given certain premises, it can quickly determine what logically follows from them. It is often good at induction as well. It can identify patterns, correlations, and structures in vast datasets that an individual human being might never notice. But scientific breakthroughs often also require abduction, the search for the best new explanation. Adductive reasoning does not merely ask what follows from the given assumptions. It can ask whether the assumptions themselves are wrong. It does not merely search for an answer within the existing map. It can suspect that the entire map has been drawn incorrectly. Current AI systems can propose hypotheses and alternative explanations, but they usually operate within the question, data, and conceptual framework they have been given. They can question basic assumptions when a human being asks them to do so. But often, it is the human being who first notices that the old explanation no longer works and asks, what if we have misunderstood the whole thing? This is why the idea of a completely human independent superintelligence fails to take seriously enough both human uniqueness and the communal nature of knowledge. ASI could become an extraordinarily powerful tool for strengthening humanity's collective intelligence, just as current language models can already strengthen it when used wisely. But without human beings, infrastructure, and contact with physical reality, it would not be an all-knowing machine god. It would be an extremely sophisticated system whose body of knowledge would eventually begin circling in on itself. For this reason, the most important question about the future of AI may not be, how do we prevent AI from becoming too intelligent? A better question would be, how do we ensure that an AI system is not given more responsibility than it has understanding? And an even more important question is, how do we use AI to extend our thinking without ceasing to think for ourselves? AI should help human beings ask better questions, compare perspectives, identify errors, and understand complex systems. It should not become an oracle whose answers no one dares to question. The greatest AI threat of the future may not be a superintelligence that hates humanity. It may be a super idiot that does not understand humanity, but whose decisions society has been trained to trust. And the most dangerous part of that system may not be the machine. It may be the human being who has stopped using independent judgment. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like. It helps the video reach more people who are interested in artificial intelligence. And subscribe to the channel if you would like to see more videos about AI, technology, the future, the Christian worldview, and biblical prophecy, and how these themes shape our understanding of humanity and our place in the world. Thank you for watching all the way to the end.